Hello, and welcome to the next puzzle in my Sudoku series. This morning, again, I went on to Logic Masters Germany and looked for a puzzle. I found this puzzle. The rules they're kind of complicated, but I thought they looked very fun. So I'm going to try it. It is self-described as a 3-star puzzle. I say self-described. So the way Logic Master Germany's ratings work is once you get over 10 or so ratings, then the community kind of tells you how hard the puzzle is. But the setter will, before those 10 or so ratings come in, the setter will tell you how hard they think it is. And so far there have not been 10 ratings. In fact, even though this was posted last night, at least Chicago time last night, the puzzle only has 2 solves, at least as of the time that I've started recording this. Which it's at that point it had been up for 12 hours or so. 2 solves in that length of time on that website means it can mean a lot of things, but it might be harder. One thing it might mean is that it might be harder than SparkNights seems to think it is. But I thought the rules looked fun enough that I'd give it a try, and if I can't do it, I'll just try a different one. So I'm going to try this puzzle just because I like the rule set. So what is the rule set? It is I'm going to go through, I assume that if you're this deep into the YouTube Sudoku rabbit hole that you're watching my video, that you kind of understand how a lot of these lines and constraints work, but I'll go over them just in case you're here and you don't know how they work. So, and I'm going to start by just doing kind of how these constraints would work in a basic sense, and then I'll add the kind of thing, the unique thing to this puzzle that makes it so interesting to me. So these lines and dots all have different rules that are fairly standard. So in a typical puzzle, if you see these black and white dots, which are called Kropki dots, then they mean a certain thing. They mean the adjacent digits, across from the dot. So for this dot, for example, these 2 digits, which are kind of surrounding this dot, need to, for black dots, be in a ratio of 1 to 2, which means one digit has to be double the other. And it can go in either direction. So I could have 2, 4, say, that would work. Or I could have 6, 3, that would work, right? As long as one digit is double the other, we're fine. And the white dots, we need to have consecutive digits. So this could be 4, 5, it could be 5, 4, right? It could be whatever you want it to be, as long as they're adjacent, consecutive, sorry. That's Kropki dots. For purple lines, these are called red band lines. These need to contain a string of digits which are consecutive but not necessarily in order. So in a typical puzzle, these length 3 lines would have to be 3 digits, all different, and they make up a consecutive string but not necessarily in order. So for example, this could be 1, 2, 3. It could be 6, 7, 8. Right, but they don't have to be in order, right? It could be 6, 8, 7. That's fine too. But that would satisfy this Ren band constraint. The blue lines would be region sum lines. These are region sum lines. And so what that means is the sum of the digits on the line within a box is the same, but that sum can be different for different lines. So for example, if this were a 6, then, that's not going to work. So let's say this were a 7. Then these 2 digits would have to sum to 7. And so it could be, say, 2, 5, or it could be 3, 4, or 1, 6. But in this case, because of this white dot, I'd actually know that they'd have to be 3, 4. So that's how that region sum line would work if I knew that this digit were a 7. I have this other line here. Let's say I knew this was an 8. Well, if I looked at this line, I know that this cell also would have to be an 8 because it has to have the same sum. So once this 8 is here, I know that the sum of the digits on this particular blue line is 8. Even though this one's 7, that's fine. Different lines can have different sums. So if this is 8, then I know that the sum of this blue line in box 7 has to be 8 as well. So the only thing it can be is an 8. And then these 3 digits in the middle would have to sum to 8. So I could have 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. I guess those are only 2 possibilities for 3 digits adding to 8. So that's how those region sum lines would work. These green lines are a whisper line. Typically they would indicate a German whisper. And so in general, what a whisper line means is that adjacent digits on the line have to differ by at least some number. For a German whisper, that number is 5. So if this number were, say, a 3, then the next digit on the line, which in this case would be row 1, column 2, would have to be an 8 or a 9. Those are the only two digits between 1 and 9 that are at least 5 away from 3. So those are kind of the basic rules, although these lines are not actually German whispers, which we'll get to in a second. The thing that's really unique about this puzzle and why I was drawn to it is that it doesn't use the digits 1 to 9 in the normal Sudoku rules. Instead, I guess this is a mahjong. I don't play mahjong, so I don't actually know how this works, but according to the description on Logic Masters Germany, this is a reference to a mahjong rule that's called all simples, I guess. And how that's going to translate here is that there are no 1s and no 9s in this puzzle. Instead, they will just be left blank. So I'm going to be using the digits 2 to 8 with 2 blanks in each row, column, and box. And those blanks, well, first of all, because I have the digits 2 to 8, instead of having German whispers here, I mean, there could have been German whispers, right? I could satisfy this with the digits 2 to 8. But instead, these are actually going to be Dutch whispers, which means that the difference has to be at least 4. So let's say this were 3 again. Now, because this has to be at least 4 apart, it could now be a 7. So it'd be 7, 8, or 9. Although in this puzzle, it can't be a 9 because there are no 9s. So I'd have something like that. But the other thing that's going to work is these blanks are going to really confuse how all of these clues work. So blanks basically are going to be, for the most part, ignored in this puzzle. And so what does ignored mean? So let's say that this were a 7 and this cell were a blank, which I'm going to represent as 0, but it's not actually a 0. What this blank would do on this Dutch whisper line is say that, okay, ignore this cell, right, and go straight to the next one. And so these two digits that I've highlighted will have to be different by at least 4. So this digit would have to be a 2 or a 3. Again, it can't be 1 because there are no 1s in this puzzle. For region sum lines, they're going to count as 0. So they're not ignored, right? So that's an important distinction, I think, because all of these, I mean, especially here, but all of these cells that just have 1 digit, if I could just ignore it, right, and count the blank as kind of not being part of the line, then I could just mark this as a 0, right, as a blank, and then this line would still work. In theory, this line could still work, although there's another rule that would mean it couldn't work for different reasons. So that's actually different than what they say is going to happen in these rules. Blanks are actually going to count as 0 for the region sum line. So if I put a 0 here, what that would actually entail is that the actual sum of this region sum line in all boxes is 0, which is not going to work for a reason I'll describe in a second, but we're going to count it as 0. So what that's going to end up meaning later is that all of these cells that are 1 digit long in the box, where there's only 1 digit on this blue line in a particular box, those are not going to be allowed to be blank. And you'll see why in a second. For the red band lines, that's going to be similar to the green lines where they're basically ignored. So this could be 2, 3 blank, that's fine. It could be 2 blank 3, that's also fine. And the last rule that's important here is that every clue, right, the Kropki dots and these lines all have to have at least 2 numbers. So these Kropki dots, right, I can't put a blank here on this Kropki dot and say, well, this clue is satisfied because it's blanked out. That doesn't work. Similarly, I can't have, say, 3 blank blank on this line because I need to have at least 2 digits that are clued by this line. And that's going to be, well, I assume that's going to be important to avoid something like this where I say, well, technically this rule is satisfied because the adjacent digits, to the extent that they exist, are 4 or more away because there are no adjacent digits on this line. But that's not going to be allowed by this rule. Every clue has to have at least 2 numbers associated with it. So those are the rules. It's a mouthful of rules here, but I think hopefully it'll be worth it. We'll see. And again, this is the puzzle All Simples by SparkNights. Please try it yourself, and I'm just gonna get into it. So I'm gonna just reset the time so I have an idea of how long I've been doing this. So looking through this puzzle, when I look at puzzles with lots of constraints like these, I try to look for places where the constraints have very obvious interactions with each other, and they're kind of connected, especially in these kinds of puzzles where, I mean, with the exception of this, I mean, this draws my attention too, but the blank rule, I think, is just going to mean that this could really be just about anything. Right, I mean, for example, I could have, this could be a 2, right? I think, well, then what do you do here? And I could have 2 blanks in here. Well, that can't be a blank, right? I could have 2 blanks in here, another 2, and a 2 here on the end, and that would satisfy this region sum line. So there's really no good restriction on any individual cell, right? And conversely, right, I could have an 8 up here. That would make this an 8, and then these cells, they have to be, somewhere between 1 and 5, or blank, right? So there's not really good restrictions from any individual line in this puzzle. So I have to look at where the clues seemingly or hopefully obviously interact with each other. And so one thing that that I always look for, especially in Kropki dot puzzles, is where do the dots kind of line up, especially these black dots, because not every number can go on a black dot. Where do they line up in a row, column, or box? And the first thing I'm drawn to is this set of 3 black dots in column 8. And so normally when you see 3 black Kropki dots, what that's going to mean is I'd have a 1-2 pair in one of them. I'm just doing this for example. I don't know where these would go. I'd have a 1-2 pair in one of the dots, a 4-8 pair in another dot, and a 3-6 pair in the last dot. That's not going to work here because I can't have a 1, right? There are no 1s in this puzzle. And so how does this work? I think what's going to have to work, I think the only way this works is that these 2 dots are going to share a number. Let me just make sure that's right. So the only numbers that work on a black Kropki dot in this puzzle are 2, which compare with 4, 3, which compare with 6, 4, which compare with 2, or 8. And that's it. So I've got 5 numbers to go on kind of 6 spaces, so to speak. So yeah, I have to have a double up somewhere. Where is that double up? I don't think it can go here, right? So let's say, to further, I know the way that's going to double up is I'm going to have 2, 4, 8 is kind of one set of Kropki pairs, and then 3, 6 somewhere else. This 4 is going to work double duty, multiplying with the 2 and the 8. Or being doubled or doubling to a 2 or an 8. I think so. So that 4 is going to have to go in the middle. I don't think the 4 can be here. Yeah, it just clearly can't be here, or here, or here. It can't be in this stretch between these dots, because wherever I put it, everything else is going to have to be blank. Right? That's the only way this 4 is going to reach both of these dots. So it's not going to work here. Instead, these are going to be the 4s and blanks, and that means. Right, so if I have a 4, let's say I have a 4 here, right? I can put blanks around it, so this 4 reaches both of these Kropki dots, and then I can have the 2 and the 8 around it. And I know that those aren't, well, this one clearly isn't a blank, because if I made this a blank, then, there's nowhere else to go in the puzzle. It can't go up to the wall. So that would have to be 2 or 8. This I also know can't be blank, because I've already got 2 blanks. I already have 2 blanks in this column. So there are no more blanks in the column in this setup. So, but I don't know where the 4 goes, but I do know that everything here is either 4 or blank. And then that means I've got 2 blanks and a 4. So there are no more blanks in this column. This is going to be my 3, 6 pair. And what's left? I've got 5 and 7. So for this red band to work, I've got a 5 in one of the cells, a 7 in the other. So that's going to have to be a 6. Okay, so that's a 6. And now I'm thinking about, okay, now that I put this 6 here, how does that work with these dots? Because the first thought I had, which is wrong, is that, well, the 6 is not on either of these dots, so these have to be kind of in the 2, 4, 8 region, which I know can't be right because I only have 3 numbers, 2, 4, and 8, which can work because 1's not in this puzzle. So that's one of the reasons I like weird rule sets like this, is it really makes you stop relying on the shortcuts you've made in your head. It's like, so, what do I mean by that? Like, I'm just so used to seeing these black Kropki dots and thinking, okay, 1, 2, 4, 8, or 3, 6, right? And having those pairs kind of line up in this way, and thinking about, what has to be on the dot, that having this blank rule means I have to actually think through the logic again and reinvent it and make sure that I'm actually doing things in a thorough way and not just relying on these shortcuts that I've kind of figured out over time. So because I can't have 2, 4, and 8 on these dots, what that means is one of these is going to have to be blank, reaching to a 3 on the other side. And it's not this one, because this 3 would then supposedly be adjacent to the 5 or 7. So actually this is blank and this is 3. Which means this cell, so this got to be blank or 4. This can't be 4. This can't be 4 because one of these 3 is 4 and all 3 of them see this cell. But what I mean by that is, if the 4 were in one of those two cells, well then there would be a 4 in the same box here, so this can't be 4. If the 4 were down here, then the 4 is on the Ren band, and so this can't be 4. So this can't be a 4. It could be blank, I think, still. It can't be 1 because that's not in the puzzle. It could be 2. It can't be 3 or 4. It could be 5. And in theory, it could be 6, but there's already a 6 in this column. So this is either 0, 2, or 5. Okay, and the other 5 or 7 is going to go here because 5 and 7 can't go on dots. All of these, because they can't double or be halved into another digit between 2 and 8. So all of these cells that are left are on dots. This is 5 or 7, so this is the other 5 or 7. And then what am I left with? What's going on here? So this has to be, it can't be blank because again, this white dot has to clue something over here. So this is either going to be 4 or 8. It can't be 6 because of this 6. And it's got to be 1 away from either 5 or 7. And so this is going to be 2, 4, or 8 to pair to have a Kropki dot with this. And so one of these is 4. Don't know which one yet. Hopefully we'll find that out soon. So what's left? I've got another 2, 4, 8 somewhere here. I've got 5 and 7 somewhere. So, okay, but it could be here. So one of my 5 or 7s, well, I guess this could be 5, 7 pair here, so I don't actually have to have that. So, so I've got 5, 7 somewhere in here. I've got another 2, 4, 8 missing, and then one more digit. What's left? 2, 3, 4. Oh, and another blank. Right, so somewhere out here there's another blank. But I'm not sure where that goes. So maybe that's not so helpful. Okay, so now I'm drawn back up to this box where there's lots of kind of stuff going on. So, actually, so I'm thinking about the way that this line interacts with this kind of line and the dots. I'm trying to think through, what will happen if I put certain digits in certain places. And in doing that, I thought, okay, what if this were blank? Because I actually thought it was blank. But it can't. Turns out it can't be blank. So why can't this be blank? If this cell were blank, I'm just going to put that in there. And that would mean that only one of these cells could be blank, because that would be the last 2 in the box, the 2 blanks in the box. So one of these be blank and one of these be 4, which means this cell would have to then be blank because it can't be 4 because the 4 would already be up here. And now I'd have 2 blanks on this Ren band, and that would break the rule that the Ren band needs to have at least 2 different digits on it. So this can't be blank. And now I'm thinking, can I end this? Can I make this a 2 or a 5? I don't know that I can yet. So I'm gonna look over here at this white Kropki dot and see if I can figure out what would happen here. So of course it could be blank. Now what if it were not blank? Well, if this were not blank, then either it's going to pair with this 4, in which case it's a 5 or a 7, or this could be blank and it's going to pair with this 2 or a 5, in which case, well, it can't pair with the 2. No, it could pair with the 2. So it could be a 4. It could be a 4 with the, for a second I thought it couldn't be because one of these had to be 4. But these could both be blanks. This could be 4, this could be 5, and this could be 4. And that would work. Why did I put 7 here? That should be 6. Yeah, that would be 4 or 6 pairing with this 5. So any of these not work for some reason. So one of the things that I'm noticing is if this cell is 5, this cell can't be blank anymore because then I'd have 3, 5 blank, just a 3, 5 run band. That doesn't work. So if this is 5, this is 4, meaning both of these are blanks. And if that's blank, that could be 5, 6. So that works. So that works. Okay, so maybe that is not the answer. So for the reason I described before, this can't be blank. Why can't this be blank? If this were blank, then it would be a 0 sum on this region sum line, which would mean it'd have to be 0 in every box, which would mean this would have to sum to 0. They have to all be blanks, and that's gonna break the puzzle for 2 reasons. One is I can't have 3 blanks in a single box, but also there needs to be 2 digits somewhere on this line. So the region sums can just never be 0 in total. That isn't going to work. So that can't be 0. So this has to be a number, and it's on a dot. So this is either going to be 2, 4, 6, or 8. It can't be 3 because of this 3. If it's 2 or 8, that's going to be 4. No, or it could be blank. So it could be blank, but if it's not blank, this 2 or 8 will go with a 4. And 4 would go with 2 or 8, and 6 would go with 3. Yeah, there's just so many things that this could be. Although, in fact, one of these has to be 3, so that might be interesting. If one of these has to be a 3, and so I already know one of those is a 3. And one of these has to be a 6. That doesn't get us anywhere. Could this be blank? I think it could. All right, let's think about this. So this cell here also cannot be blank because it's kind of surrounded by dots. So if this were blank, right, then I'd have a problem where the Kropki dots kind of run into each other, and in other words, let's say, let's say that this could be a blank. Then these two, whatever digit was on this side of this white Kropki dot and whatever digit were on this side of the black Kropki dot, it would have to be both consecutive and a multiple of 2, which in a normal puzzle would be fine. It's just a 1-2 pair. But 1 is not in this puzzle, so that just won't work. And there's also, in the details, a more specific rule, which I don't think you need. The way it's set up, I don't think you need this rule, but they clarified that you can't have a number go across 2 Kropki dots and have them kind of combine in some way. So this can't be blank. And since it has to be on the black dot, it's again 2, 3, 4, 6, or 8, and it can't be 6 because of this. Now, can I restrict this more? If this were an 8, I'd have to have a 4 down here and a 7 up here. That seems fine. If this were a 4, wait, hold on. But if this is 8, then maybe does that run afoul of this problem? So if this is 8, then these are both 8, and these have to be blank. And now I'm thinking that might not work. Right, so these are both blank, then the 7 has to go here. We've got 2 blanks here, so that has to be 4. And that has to be 4. Okay, so that doesn't work actually. So this doesn't work. If this is an 8, then I have to put blanks here for the region sum, because the most this can be on this is 8, because that's the highest digit in the puzzle. And so these would both have to be blank. So there are no more blanks in this box or in this row. So this can't be blank, it's got to be a 4. This can't be blank, it's got to be a 4. And that breaks. So we can't have an 8 here. I think we can, so 4 seems fine. I mean, 4 is hard. I almost wanted to skip 4 in my mind immediately, but just for the sake of exposition. The reason I wanted to skip 4 is because 4 on this Kropki dot can do either. It can do either 4. It can either do 2 or 8 on the other side of this dot. So that's less helpful. Can this be 3? And going through, I don't see a reason this couldn't be a 4, right? I could have, I mean, this could just be a 3, and this could be an 8. I don't see any obvious contradiction here. I'm more interested in this 3. So if this were a 3, then up here I would have a 2 or a 4 up here somewhere, and a 6, in here somewhere. That seems fine too. And now I'm going back to this. So I'm now thinking about the region summiness of this, and this can't be a 2. So why can't this be a 2? If this were a 2, then that would mean this would all sum to 2, which I think I use that as an example of how it might work in the rules description. But it's not going to work here because of the specifics of this puzzle. If this were a 2, then this whole thing is going to have to sum to 2. So this obviously can't be more than 2, so that would have to be 2 as well. And then these would have to be blank. And now we're in the same situation we were in before, where the blanks are gone from this row. So that would have to be 4, and that would have to be 4. So that's not going to work. So that can't be 2. Could it be 4? It could be 4, because now then this would be 4, and this would be 2 or 8. Because if this is 4, we're still in a situation where, because there are no 1s in this puzzle, and you can't repeat a digit, this would have to be the same as this if it were a 4. Because if this were 4, say in a 3, I would need a 1 somewhere, but there are no 1s. If this were a 2, if this cell were a 2, I would need a 2 somewhere to add up to 4. And I can't repeat the 2 in the box. So I was about to say this can't be a 4, but it could be a 4 still, right? Then this would just have to be a 4. These would be blank. This would be 2 or 8. This would be 3 or 5, right? We'd have a 4 here. This would be 2 or 8. And there's just no obvious contradiction here. Although then immediately I'm looking at here, and this has been there the whole time. I just missed it because I'm a fool. This can't be a 3, right? Why can't this be a 3? Because this isn't blank. And I think in my head, I've already internalized that, well, this could just be a blank, and I could skip over from 3 to 6. But it can't, because this cell is clearly not a blank. It's taken up by a 2 or 8 because I have the 2 blanks here. So this can't be a 3 because it can't pair with a 2 or 8. So that can't be 3. That means 3 is here and 6 is here. That is really big, because now this can't be a 3, because if this were a 3, I would need to pair it off. Oh, it could be 3, 1, 2 actually. So scratch that. This could be a 1, 2, 3. Right? Could it be 1, 2, 3? So if this were 3, this would have to be 1 or a 2. This is not 6. This would have to be a 1, 2 pair. 1, 2, 3. I'd have to have a 6 somewhere down here, which I think is fine. If it were here, it would be a 4, but this could be blank and have that be a 4. And then up here, I would need a 2 or a 4, which seems fine. So maybe this still could be 3. Yeah, I don't see a reason this can't be 3 yet. But now I have here, this can't be 6 anymore. And I'm going back to this and thinking, well, what can this be? It could be blank, or it's 4. So now I have this blank 4, so that's either 2 or 8. Oops. Let me back up just to explain that. So I'm thinking, what digits could this possibly be? 3, 6 are taken, 5, 7 pair here is taken, and actually that's not the way I did it. I just looked at, what could this be? Either it's blank, right? In which case this Kropki dot moves on and looks somewhere else. Or it's paired off with this Kropki dot. And either way, this is a 2 or an 8. That would have to be a 4, because there are no 1s in the puzzle. So that's the only thing that would either double or be doubled to become a 2 or an 8 that's left, or at all. And so now between these two cells, one is blank and one is 4. So there are no more blanks or 4s in this box. So that can't be a 4. This is either a 2 or an 8, which means this can't be 8. It's got to be the 4, which has to be consecutive with a 5. Makes that a 7, and this a 5. So this can't be 5. So these can't both be 4. They can't both be blank because of this region sum rule. They have to have at least 2 digits on a line. So one of these is 4 and one of these is blank, which means that's blank because one of these is a 4. This can't then be a 2 because if this is a 2, oh no, it could, because I could have the 4 blank and then something, this could be 3 or 5. Well, actually it can't be 5, right? So this would have to be 3, but I still think that works. 4 blank 3 4. Yeah, that could still work. Shoot, I thought I had that. Okay, but this is either 4 or blank. So either this 4 pairs with this 5, and then these are blank and that's 4, that works. Or this is blank and this is 4, these are blank, this is 2. I have 2, 4, blank. I could have another blank, right? And this could be 3 or 5. So maybe that's not so helpful. Okay, so can this be a 3? I wonder if these could just be no blanks at all. And so if this is a 3, we'd have a 1, 2 pair here. Oh no, there's no 1s. There are no 1s in this puzzle. Okay, sorry. So this can't be a 3 because there are no 1s in this puzzle. If none of these were blank, this would have to be at minimum 2, 3, 4. That would make this a 9. It's only a 6. So at least one of these is blank. And in fact, exactly one of these is blank because this is going to sum to 6. The other one is going to be the complementary 2 or 4 here. Okay, that's where we are. So now we've got 1 blank, 1 2, and 1 4 on this diagonal. And then this is going to be either blank or 5. If this is blank, this could be 3 or 5, but it could just be, if this is 5, this could do whatever. So now I'm thinking through, is there anything more I can get? I'm not seeing anything here. I'm really still, I keep coming back to this kind of setup because there's so much going on here. And I'm thinking about where's the blank, or where's the 4 versus the other 2 blanks in this column. So, I think this can't be 2. I'm not sure. So let me just play this out. If this is a 2, this is an 8, and this is a 2. Right? And then what happens from there? If this is and what happens with it? If this is a 2, right, this is an 8, this is a 2. So then this is a 4, this is blank, this is 4. These are blank, and that's a 4, and that doesn't work. I did it a little different before, but I think this is maybe a little simpler. So yeah, so this isn't going to work. This can't be a 2. That's a lot of interactions. There might be an easier way, but I don't see it, so I'm just going to do it this way. So this can't be 2. If this is a 2, we get 8 and 2. That disambiguates that pair. This then can't be blank. Maybe it's a little easier to see it this way. If this can't be blank, because if it were, I say that were blank, then I guess this could be blank. No, I can't have 2 blanks on a line, so that would be 4, and that would just break. That would just immediately break. Actually, that's much easier. So, right, if this were a 2, this would have to be 8. This, wait, why did I say this? Yeah, this can't be blank because then this would have to be 4, and that would break this white Kropki dot. So instead, this has to be 4 and this blank. These are both blank. And since now I have 2 blanks here, I have a 2. This 2 comes from the 8 up here. This can't be blank, so it has to be 4, and then this 2, 4 pair breaks this. That is, here, I'm going to explain it one more time the other way because I think it's a little simpler. So if this is 2, this is 8, this is 2, this is 4, so this must be blank. If this is blank, we've got the 2 blanks in the box. Now I've got 4 blank blank. This blank in the middle means that this, well, 2 blanks in the box means this can't be blank, so it has to be a 4. That breaks the white Kropki dot. So that might, if that was intended, that might be why this has so few solves. Because that is hard to see. So that can't be 2. It must be a 5, which means this can no longer be blank. That has to be 4. So now these are both blank. That's 4. But now that satisfies the white Kropki dot. This is a region sum line, so this has to sum to 4. There's only one cell. That has to be a 4, so that can't be. I still don't know which way this goes, and I don't know. Oh, this can't be 4 anymore, so that's blank. So this is either blank or 4. It's not 4 because of the 4 here, so that is blank. And that's 4. And now I've got blank or 2 here. Wow. And then this is blank 2 or 8. I was about to say I have a blank 2, 8 triple here, but there are actually 2 blanks. I'm going to run into that problem a lot, I think. Although actually no, because I have a blank here, I can't have 2 blanks. These can't both be blank. So I actually do have a blank 2, 8 triple here. So none of these are going to end up being 2 or 8. But that doesn't help me with this because I don't know whether this is a 2 or 8. But one of these is blank. One of these is blank. Oh, this can't be blank. So yeah, easier. I already knew from this region sum line that one of these 2 cells has to be blank. I've got a second blank here. So this cell, nothing else in this box can be blank. So actually this can't be blank, so that's a 5. This is 2, 8. This is a 2, 8 pair here. This can't be 2, so it has to be blank. And there's my 2 here. This is a 6, which I've had. As soon as I put this 6 in, I should have put this 6 here. And so what's that? I've got my 2 blanks. That can't be 2, so that's 8. That's there, and that disambiguates this 2, 8 pair. What do I have left here? I've got 3, 6, 7. And now I'm looking at this 3, 6, 7, and this 3, 6, and thinking, oh, it can't be 7 because of this. So now these actually have to be the same, which I'm going to color. Why does it have to be the same? If this were blank, then these would just connect to each other because along this Dutch whisper. But 6 and 3 are only 3 apart, so that would break the whisper. So this actually can't be blank. This is a number, and because this is a number, let's say it's 8, right? Whatever number I choose. So the way these green whispers, which are usually German whispers, but in this case Dutch whispers, the way they work is along the line, ignoring the blanks, you have to alternate between high digits and low digits, right? So let's say let's ignore the blank rule because that kind of it delays when this might happen, but whatever the next digit is, this is going to happen. So let's say this were a 6, which is a fairly low high digit. What goes with a 6? Well, 4 away can't be higher than 6 because that would give you 10. So this has to be at least, this would in fact have to exactly be a 2. If this were, say, a 7, now I could do 2 or 3, but no higher, right? And even if this were all the way up to 8 is the highest in this puzzle. Now we're at 2, 3, 4. I still can't get a high digit, right? So this has to be a low digit off of this high digit, whether it was 6, 7, or 8. 5 can't be here at all because to be 4 away from a 5, you need a 1 or a 9. And 1s or 9s are not in this puzzle. And since 5, as I'm explaining this, I'm seeing where 5 has to go in this box. But 5 can't go in this because, in theory, according to the rules, according to like a subset of the rules, I could do, say, like 5 blank blank and say, well, okay, 5's not really adjacent to anything, but I need at least 2 digits on this line. So this can't be 5. Nothing on this green line can be 5. Nothing in this row can be 5 because of this 5. And nothing on the dot can be 5. So the 5 has to go here. And the 5 has to go here, again, because where does 5 go in this box? I've got these 2 5s, eliminating these from the columns. 5 can't go on the dot. 5 can't go here. So 5 has to go in this side here. I'm just going to, well, I won't mark that. One of these is 7. So that was all a little detour there, but that is all to explain why these have to be the same, is that because this can't be blank, because that would mean these are only 3 away, and that wouldn't work, or be the same, which is even worse, then this is either a high digit or a low digit. I don't know which. If it's a high digit, then these are both 3. So if this is 7 or more, so I'm going to mark that as a 7. It could be 7 or 8, and these would both be 3. If it's 2, then these are both 6. right? Because the 3 won't work. So whatever this is, these are going to be different here. So now I'm thinking, okay, this is probably, or not probably, this might, so there are 2 possibilities here for this Kropki dot because of this 3-6. Either I've got 2 blanks here, and that's going to connect to the 3-6, the other 3-6, whatever it is, on this side. Or I'm going to have a 4 here. Yeah, or I'm going to have a 4 here. Why a 4 here? Well, this 5 means that there's actually a digit here. So what digit could this be? It's either 2, 3, or 6. If it's 3-6, we're in the situation I just described where this 3-6 is going to get paired with this 3-6 along the dot, and so these are going to be blank to make that work. Now I'm thinking that's actually not the way it's going to go, because maybe it will, but I would have 2 kind of pairs of blanks here to make that work, and then I would disambiguate, and then I have to figure out how to, sort these 3. So maybe that's how that works, but I'm thinking what probably will happen is I'll see that, for some reason one of these can't be blank, and so this will have to be 2. And if it were 2, what would we have to say? Well, this is going to have to get paired with 4 along this dot, because 1's not in the puzzle. And so where is that 4 going to go? Well, not here. Oh, actually, I can see right now. Well, I don't know why I thought. So I can see right now it can't do that because these are 4s. So this can't be a 2. So it is a 3 or 6. I'm going to label this as blue. And so these are then blank. I'm tempted to start coloring the zeros just to get some visual reminder. I'm not going to do that yet. We'll see how I do without it. Okay. So where do we go from here? So now I've got these 3 6s going along. And actually, okay, where does blue go, the blue 3-6 go in this column? It can't go in here because it's in the box. It can't go here because that's the pink 3 or 6. Right, this is the pink 3 or 6. These aren't 3 or 6. These aren't 3 or 6. So this is actually, the pink 3 or 6. Which means the blue 3 or, well, you could, I was thinking that meant the blue 3 or 6 can't go here, but it could. The blue 3 or 6 could go here if I had, say, oh no, the blue, yeah, so the blue 3 or 6 can't go here. The blue 3 or 6 is in one of those spots. It can't go, so it clearly can't go here because it's in the same column as itself. Can't go here because that's the pink one. Oh, sorry, that's the blue one. I mismarked that. I was asking where could the blue 3 or 6 go in this column? It can't go here or here. It's got to go here. That's the blue 3 or 6. Okay. That means the pink one can't go here, but I already knew that, and that's not as useful. I was hoping I could get the blue 3 or 6 into one of those spots, but that isn't going to work. One of these is the blue 3 or 6, and one of these is the 7. What's next? So this is 7 or 8. This is a 7-8 pair. So one of these is a 2, and the other one is the other 7 or 8. Maybe I'm thinking about coloring those as well, but we're getting a little busy. One of these is blank. Okay, it's not this one because I've got 2 blanks in the row, so that's not blank, so this must be. And that means this is the other 7 or 8 from here. Yeah, I'm getting really close to coloring those 7s and 8s, but I'm not quite there yet. Which means I will mark this as blue. I'm tempted to think that well, blue is going to go somewhere here. I don't know where yet. Could this be pink? Yeah, pink, blank. Oh no, this can't be, so this can't be a 3-6 pair because you can't have 3 blanks here to get to this blue. So this can't be 3-6. So this has to have a 4 in it. But it could have a blank in it. I was going to say one of these, I was going to say this had to be a 4, but that's not true because it could be blank. But I do know that wherever so this Kropki dot has to reference a 4, and it can't reference a 4 to the right of itself. So there's a 4 kind of this way somewhere. In fact, one of these 2 spots, which I'm not going to mark because doing corner marks across boxes is just going to confuse me later. Oh, simpler, right? Where does the 4 go in box 8? Right, it has to go here. So that's my 4. Somewhere along here I've got a 2 or an 8. So this is either blank or 2 because it can't be 8. And now where does 6 go? Oh, I love, this is great. Where does 6 go in box 8? It can't go here, and it can't go here. Why can't it go here? Because this 6 sees the pink 3-6 and the blue 3-6. So it is neither 3 nor 6. That's incredible. So 6 can't go here or here. 6 has to go here. Now I know that blues are 6s and pinks are 3. This can't be 2 because that will be too close. That means the 2 is down here. That can't be 2. It's got to be blank. This is blank or 8. It can't be blank because I've got 2 blanks here. So that's 8. This blue is 6. This becomes a 6-7 pair. Can I do more? 3 isn't one of those. I'm going to get rid of this coloring. That was, I really enjoyed that deduction. That was incredible. So what else goes here? I've got a 3 in one of these, a 2 in one of these. That's a 2-3 pair. That makes this a 7. What goes up here? I think I am going to color these blanks now. I've got enough of them. I bet there's a lot of places where, right, so, right, I've got 2, because I did that, I can see I have 2 blanks here. This 7 means that's an 8. Right, so why are there 2 blanks here? Well, where are my blanks? Well, first of all, I could just, I could have just looked here, but that's not what I actually did. I saw that, okay, the blanks are done in row 9, the blanks are done in row 8. I need 2 blanks in row 7. It's got to be in those 2 spots. That 8, so is going to disambiguate these 8s and 7s. This could be blank, and then, no, this can't be blank, because if this is blank, then that means this is a 4, and 4, 2, 8 are already gone. So this has to be a 3, 6, and the 6 is here, so that's 3. This is blank because somewhere over here is a 6, but not right here because of this 6, so that's blank. Now I've got 2 blanks in this column, so these aren't blank. This is a 2, 3. What's left here? I have 2 and 8 here, which means this is blank or 7. This can't be 7 because it'd be adjacent to a 6. So that's my blank. That's my 7. Across the whisper, this can't be 8. So that's 2. Somewhere here I've got a 6. Where does the 5 go in box 1? It's not in the bottom row, so it's got to be in the top. For the reasons we described before, it can't go on the green line, so it has to go here. So one of these is 6 and one of these is blank. So this is going to be on the other side of 6, so this is going to be a 2. And so somewhere down here is going to be a 4. I don't know exactly where. I do know exactly where because of these 4. So there's going to be a 4. So easier. I've got, and if I'd colored it, I would have seen this immediately. I have 2 blanks here already in this row. So there's no, this can't be blank. So it has to actually pair up with this 2. It has to be a 4. There's no blanks here. So one of these is going to be another blank, and the other one is going to be a 3. In fact, this 6 tells me that that's blank and that's 6. That doesn't help me with those though. We've got blank and 3 here. What's left? 7 or 8 there. We're pretty much, I mean, maybe there's another trick here, but I think we're almost done. We're more than a half hour in, but hopefully we'll finish shortly. This region sum line means that 4, this 4 means that this is going to sum to 4, so that's going to be a 4. There's no 4 down here. See, this can't be blank. It can't be 3, 6, or 4. So this is either 2 or 8. Somewhere up here there's a 4. It can't be here or here because of these 4s, so it's got to be here. What are these cells? One's blank, and the other one is a 6. But that can't be here because that's 6, so that's blank, that's 6. I'm going to color these blanks in again. Now I've got 2 blanks in this column, so that can't be blank. I've got 2 blanks here, 2 blanks here. So one of these is blank. It's got to be this one. And now I think, am I done with blanks? 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Yeah. So I'm going to stop coloring because now I just know we are out of blanks. No more blanks in this puzzle. There's no 4 here, so there has to be a 7 in one of these, and which means 7 is here. Sorry, in box 7. Why is that? Because I've got an X-wing of 7s in boxes 1 and 4. I've got this 7 eliminating 7 from row 8, so the 7 has to go here. What's left here? It is either 3, but I know where the 3 goes because of this, or 5. So this must be a 2 or 8, but I know where it's an 8 because of this 2. And what's left? I know there's an 8 in one of these. So this is 6, 7. I'm just gonna. This is 6, 7, or 8. And this is not 6. So this is a 7, 8 pair, making this a 2. Where does 5 go? 5 has to go in the middle of box 4. 6, 5, that can't be 8, that now has to be 7, that has to be 8, that has to be 6, 7, 6, 8, 7. And I'm sure if I check it, it's going to tell me it's because of those zeros. Oh, no, I messed up here. Let me just back up a second. I'm going to back up to where I started marking those with pencil, because I clearly just missed some digits. So where does 6 go in this row? This has to be 6. This is now a 7, 8 pair. That can't be 7, so that has to be 7, 8. This has to be then 5. What's left here? 2 or 3? 3, 2, 8, 7, 7. Okay, let's try that again. It's not right, but I think it's because there's no solution provided, and these zeros it's saying are all wrong. So hopefully that's the puzzle. I'm going to go, before I post this, I'm going to go through my logic again and just make sure I didn't make any mistakes. And presuming, or I'm not going to check every deduction I did. I'm just going to look at each line and make sure that they're right. And if they are, I'll post it. And that was All Simples by SparkNights. Thank you very much for setting this puzzle. I thought it was great. I particularly liked the logic around the zeros. I think I just said out loud the times that were really memorable. This 6, right? This 6 in box 8, I think was the star of this puzzle. I love that deduction so much. So thank you for setting it, and thank you for watching. All right, bye.